This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Stay tuned for more information later in the show. My fucking claps slap, y'all. Or snaps. They're so loud. Alright.
Snap, slap.
Yeah, y'all want to talk about Gray versus Esdeath?
Okay.
We should introduce ourselves.
Wait, are we
starting?
are we going?
We should all be recording.
I didn't realize that we were starting the show.
Well, I mean,
With
you can
snaps.
start whenever.
Wait, was that the intro?
No,
are you guys
that was-
ready to...
Well, yeah, are you guys ready to start the show? Is the way most people start shows.
Oh,
What?
okay.
No, normally when we
Great.
start the show is Ben saying, "Hi, welcome to Death Battle Cast."
Hi.
But screwing it up
Yeah.
somehow.
Hi, everybody.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Death Battle Cast, a very special one where we clearly have no idea what we're doing. But this is the voice of Ben, who is the voice of Wiz. Hello.
Hi, this is the voice of Chad, who's the voice of Boomstick.
And I guess we're all doing that. This is the voice of Josh. I edit and write Death Battle.
This is the voice
It's
of
the voice-
Sam. I don't know what I do these days, but I do it.
Sweet.
Nice.
Great. And as you can tell, we're doing an audio podcast this week. And
Oh.
Because
Every
we're
week.
quarantined.
every week for the foreseeable future until the quarantine lifts and things get back to normal.
I'm sure
Whatever
you guys are
that may
familiar
be.
with why everyone's quarantined, and if you're not, you should really get on the internet and see what's happening and wash your hands immediately.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man, that would be a shock. Who was it? There was some news article going around where it was like Jared Leto went on some sort of like
Oh,
trip
yeah.
for 2 weeks into the middle of the desert or something, and then he came back in the middle of all this. It was like, what, like when the national, right before the national emergency, I think, I can't remember, but he came back and was like, what the fuck happened while I was gone?
Classic Leto.
Of course he'd be out in the desert for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, people said that about Suicide Squad too, so. What the hell happened when I was gone? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Great, good joke.
Yeah, killing it. Can we get a laugh
Flex your
track?
comedy there, Chad.
Can we play
A
play a laugh
would be
track?
great.
That would
be
really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to change things now, right? That we're doing this audio only.
Well, since
a
it's
little
audio
weird.
only, I mean, we could literally have the characters here too. You know,
I can't wait until we do sneak peeks that are audio only.
like how you doing,
Well,
Boomstick? Oh,
I'm
doing
still
pretty
gonna
good. How are
edit
you?
it in.
See, it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
wait,
you want to
how-
go ahead and do audio bits, go ahead,
How-
Chad.
How are we doing the sneak peek next week? That is
Audio
an excellent
only.
question.
Yeah, no, I'm doing like so for
describe it to you in excruciating detail.
Like a
it will
radio
still
drama.
be in the episode. What do you mean?
Okay, so there is technically a video. You're watching a video right now.
Oh, right.
I'm assuming it's just
Yeah,
bars
so
going
the
up and
sneak
down.
peek will be cut into the fucking video like
Right.
normal.
Okay,
All
gotcha.
right, shut up.
So when we're recording, we just won't see it because we're recording audio. So we'll show the sneak peek. We'll be like, oh, it's time for the sneak peek. Here goes, and then we'll just wait a bit, and then we'll come back and be like, oh, that was a great sneak peek, wasn't it, everybody? Anyway, we should probably get to the actual show. We had a death battle just released. Gray versus Esdeath. One of those anime ones. You know,
It's pronounced anime.
Yeah.
the Anamu.
It's one of them damn Japanese cartoons there.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, yeah, I mean
Oh
that's the way you
goodness.
kind of put a southern twang on it, man.
To Anamu.
No,
What?
No, to when.
All right. The
whatever.
point is,
Animu
this
is anime about
Oh my
cats.
God.
this is the Q&A episode for that episode.
If
uh,
you can make it there.
Well, we'll eventually get to it, which is right now. So I have a list of a
Or
couple questions.
is it? Because man, I have a story. All right, I'll wait.
Well, we'll have time for stories later, Chad. Right
Right.
now, we've got to answer the question: why did you skip most of Gray's ice make spells? Is it possible some of the ones you didn't mention or show could have changed the outcome?
The age-old question we always get about why didn't you talk about X specific ability, and the answer is always the same.
Well, Gray has a shit ton of ice make spells, and if we were going to go through
Uh-huh.
every single one, that episode would be like 30 minutes long.
And he
Can
says
he
that
make
as
ice
in,
cream?
if we were going to go through that in the show, we definitely went through that in the research portion.
Oh, of course, absolutely. We mainly listed the most important ones to note, and we used what we could in the animation to keep the animation, fun and exciting, and also show what he's capable of. There was one moment. I know some people were wondering where Ice Make Unlimited is, and that's his um, technique to he basically summons a million weapons, and they're like ice weapons and swirling around. It's like an ice tornado of weapons, which is really cool. But man, that would be a lot to animate. And so we kind of had to decide between that and I was gonna. The original idea was it was gonna be countered by Esdeath's ice armor, because she can basically make like an ice mech, which is crazy. And that would have been a lot to make too. So we are like, well, all right, looking at our time and budget and what we can do with this, we got to either go with this or the Ice Devil Sword. And it was like, well, that's kind of his devil ice powers. We sort of need that. That's more important. So we went with that instead. But we still put in as many, ice make abilities as we could. We really wanted to show off Gray's versatility, because that's what, the ice make powers are all about. But at the end of the day, Gray didn't lose because he was less versatile. He was definitely more versatile with the ice make stuff. It was because of the power gap and the speed gap. Like, there just wasn't any ice make ability that could match what Esdeath could do. Also, spoilers. We're talking about spoilers. I always forget to mention that at the top of these episodes.
Too late, it's ruined.
Too late. Esdeath won. Surprise. Anyway, on to question 2. Since Esdeath's Tegu is the demon's extract, doesn't that mean Gray's Devil Slayer magic should be super effective against her? Like Pokemon, like the next one that we're doing. And no, the demon's extract is in name only. She's not like a demon. She didn't turn into a devil person when she drank it. I mean, she basically was already. She was freaking insane and a murder happy psychopath. So
like I could come up with a sick move that I just called the demon punch, but that doesn't mean it's actually demonic. I just called it that.
I mean, that automatically turns you into a demon, Chad.
All right.
Yeah, that's how
Sweet.
that works. Question 3. Aren't the ice demon slayers immune to ice? Shouldn't Gray be unaffected by all of Esdeath's attacks? Oh shit, guys. We messed it up. The whole episode is ruined.
They gotcha.
You got deleted off YouTube.
Once again.
No. Gray is just resistant to ice. Let me double check what I checked with Lousy with this, because I wanted to make sure we got the right example here. And it's specifically, there are multiple fights in the show, in the manga, where he fights with ice people and he's affected by it, even with his Devil Slayer abilities. The key one is Invel. Invel, we took a lot from. Invel has the ice storm that was super powerful, that we could compare to Esdeath's. Invel could affect Gray with his ice powers. So, and the thing that Lousy wanted me to specify was, in the manga, Gray mentions he could feel the cold of Invel's ice and is in danger of being frozen even while in Devil Slayer form. So there you go. That's basically.
You know what's great about that question? It actually comes back to one of the first things that Death Battle was ever challenged on. And that was Samus versus Boba Fett. And something being ice resistant and ice proof.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
Sure. Yeah.
That honestly, I think, was the first thing that people were like, "No, you got it wrong, because it's ice resistant, which means that Boba Fett couldn't possibly be frozen by Samus." And then we had to go and talk about that.
He's just immune to ice automatically.
Like, and I loved the way it was, when we described it, because it was like, yeah, I mean, I have a jacket that's cold resistant.
That's right.
It doesn't
the parka
mean
joke.
like a freezing beam is gonna, like, not freeze my jacket.
Absolute Zero is still gonna, absolute zero you.
Yeah, it's just a fun question, man. Full circle, all the way back to the beginning of Death Battle.
Yep. All right, pack it up. We're done. We've completed the circuit. All right. Question number 4. Why did you allow Esdeath to bring an army of ice cavalry when you said it took her at least 3 days to make that many soldiers? So this is definitely one of those things where if you blink, you could have missed it. But we had her create those soldiers at the very beginning of the fight, just to create this epic fight between the ice cavalry and the ice clones, and also kind of lead up to the ice storm attack. But obviously that was not intended to be her bringing in 3 days worth of ice cavalry, which we talk about through the episode. And that actually, I believe, leads into the next question, which is an interesting thing to bring up. So this is specifically about us calculating and I know calculations, oh boy, exciting stuff. But this is about us calculating Esdeath's true potential by with that ice storm using the ice cavalry and the whole thing with like a few days and whatnot. So saying 3 days means she has 1/3 of the ice storm normally available doesn't add up. That would only work if she was making the entirety of each third of those soldiers all at once. But she creates them one at a time. So you would have to figure out the rate at which she creates them. It's possible she wouldn't run out of energy before the day ends. So isn't she probably even more powerful than what you calculated? And yeah, we actually thought about that. It is possible that we do know that she has a limit to her power, but it is possible that she didn't necessarily run out every single day creating those ice cavalry. She could have been popping them off, every millisecond and just never run out, and that's fine. We're not claiming that that's her maximum power, but it's definitely a gauge of what she can do against Gray. And the fact that it's way higher than Gray's means we don't really need to try to figure out how powerful her max is with statistics that don't exist. Like, we wouldn't be able to figure that out. But it's already more powerful than Gray, so it doesn't really matter in the end. Does that make sense?
Nailed it.
Cool. Great. We're doing great, guys.
Was that a joke?
What? Sam, you're super quiet.
Just
cool.
Yes, it was a pun.
Very
Thank
funny.
you. Thank you for recognizing it.
Great. I'm glad we got to
appreciate
revisit that.
Yes. Question 6. There's only a couple more left. Why didn't Gray just mold and use Esdeath's own ice magic against her? This goes back to, actually, this is not Invil. This is Silver. So Gray can manipulate other people's ice, but there's a couple reasons why it doesn't really matter in this fight. Given Esdeath has more raw power in her ice attacks, she would win most struggles of control over the ice just in general anyway. She can also just create more and has more general control over ice and what she does with it. It's like a crazy magic telekinesis. Do whatever she wants with it, whereas Gray has to do specific kinds of spells. He's got versatility in the things he can make with ice, but Esdeath has more control over the ice itself, it seems. Especially with the power level that she's working with. Gray has only controlled ice when he was fighting Silver, and it was because Silver's ice had special properties that he could use against him. And it's also important to note that Esdeath's physical and blade fighting ability are just as exceptional and could always be used instead of her ice powers, which we kind of touched on in the recap, in the conclusion of the episode, when we talk about how once Esdeath figured out that, this guy can eat the ice that I create and it boosts his power, she would very likely stop throwing ice at him and start using physical attacks like her sword, ice sword, things like that, and the time stop. All right, question 7. Some comments say that the fight is not. Oh, okay. I'm curious about how you guys feel about this question these days, because I don't think we've talked about this in a long time. Some comments say that the fight is not supposed to reflect your research. It's just a fight for fun. Why would you create a fight with falsehoods in it? Doesn't that defeat the point of the show?
Have you read comics or watched anime or?
Well, the idea being that the fight itself, supposedly, is not meant to be taken as an example of our analysis, which was kind of the case way back in the day when we were very limited in what we could do. We were essentially limited to what sprites were available on their own. We had maybe a week to get the animation done, very few options for backgrounds. There was just not a whole lot that we could do per se. So we kind of had to make the best of what we had. And sometimes that would create a situation where it was like, well, why didn't such and such character use their most powerful ability? And the answer was, we just didn't have access to it. And that's not really the case anymore. So
Right. Well, I mean, what we it's honestly it's a balance because like we very much want to show off what the characters can do, and anytime Luis is on, you can hear him go on forever about how much they look into recreating very specific moments, and also like just for the animation, and also Ben and I have talked about this a bunch, but like we want to make sure we show off like in our research. A lot of times we come across things. It's like, oh, this person has this ability. Oh, but the opponent has a very specific ability that trumps that ability. So we try and make sure we incorporate that to show that off. But then, of course, we also do make some decisions that are just to make it look really fucking cool and be awesome. Like, if we go back, one of the things that I like to talk about is the Goku versus Superman fight, which, as controversial as that is for whatever, like, it would have been really fucking boring if we started the fight off and Superman just lasered Goku through the eyes. Like,
yeah, a little
that would
bit.
be incredibly boring, and no one would want to watch that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's a balance that we try and do. We very much try and represent the characters, and we very much try and put as much of our findings and our research into the combat. But then we do also treat it like it's a piece of entertainment, and it's there to entertain you. And you want to see a cool fight, and so we try and do that.
Yeah, striking a balance. It's a good way to put it. And even then, I'm trying to remember what the question was, but we had a question for Genos War Machine, I believe, which the answer was we showed it in the fight. I can't remember the specific what it was. But we do still have that comparison in the fight. Where it's not like we're making the fight without any before we even do any of the research or whatever. It is meant to represent the research. It is. It's going to be something to always keep in mind is that these are fictional characters that are fighting in a fictional battle that could never actually happen. What we make happen in the fight is one of billions of possibilities. So, sure, in this one occasion, Gray starts the fight by making ice clones, but in another version of the fight, he doesn't. So, at that point, like I feel like nitpicking the fight in that sort of way, like whether or not this character would have done this thing in this moment, is a bit much. But it's specifically about the comparison of abilities and stuff that we do in the fight. Like with Genos War Machine, for example, can War Machine survive Genos's suicide bomb? Yes, he can. So we show that in the fight. But like, would Genos be able to get off that explosion in the fight? I mean, you can argue whether or not War Machine would kill him before that, or if Genos would be able to pull it off. And that's the thing I'm talking about, where that doesn't matter.
Right. And also parroting with, or reinforcing what Sam said, like a lot of characters have had different writers over time, like especially comics, right? Comic characters have been around forever. And like the writer just makes decisions to write a fight between a villain or whatever, the way that they will. And so like, we could never tell you like with 100% certainty, like down to a T, the exact way this fight would go with every step and every punch. So we try and show our findings, and we try and make it look really fucking cool.
Yeah, and there's something to be said as far as like being a writer for a fight too. Sometimes you just want to do like a really really fucking cool thing, and it doesn't make like 100% sense, but it's super fucking cool. So you put it in the script, and that's cool sometimes. Like.
Cool.
Do you have an example of something that's been released?
I have one. No, not released.
Oh, great.
I think you did with Thor, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, that's a fight. That's a good example of like one that should have been over immediately. Like that, the reality of that fight and everything from like the math standpoint of Wonder Woman and having a sword that can cut through shit at an anatomical level is like really boring. It's like she cuts through the person, they're dead. That's what what do you want? And you know the fight's 5 seconds long, and nobody wants to watch it.
Sure, absolutely. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've seen this posted in comments and even videos talking about it, and like that is something that we used to say way back when we were extremely limited in what we could
fight's just for
do.
entertainment.
So I definitely wanted to clarify that nowadays, and as it has been for many, many years at this point, it's not just to be some fun, ridiculous fight. It's obviously taking in all the research.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, and then the last thing is, why is the next episode Goro versus Machamp?
Because it's awesome.
Episode 125, our milestone episode, is fucking Goro versus Machamp, and I love it.
Josh, you wrote this one, right?
I did. It's awesome so far. It's like the fight is coming together so well. It's such a fun script. I'm really happy with it so far.
This is our first 3D battle of the year. This one's directed by David, and yeah, it's Goro versus Machamp has been requested for a long time, but it's always been one of those requests that's like, I can't tell if everybody who's requesting it is like serious about it, you know?
Or if they're just like, that one.
Wouldn't this be funny?
They got a lot of arms.
But it's happening, so we'll see how this goes.
And you know that further goes with us striking a balance. Like we want to go take on those hardcore fights and like deep dive, and then we also want to do fights that are fun. And this is definitely one of those, man. It's ridiculous.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a gag fight, but it's certainly close to one. Where it's I mean, it is ridiculous. The whole idea of it is ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so if you consider Yoshi versus Riptor, going back that far, a gag fight, this is kind of in the same vein. So I would say in that definition, it's a gag fight, but it's not one of those ones where like the ending was pre-planned or whatever. Because man, the analysis for Machamp gets ridiculous. So that's gonna air in
Stupid Pokedex
in 2 weeks. Yes, although we did. So the Pokedex.
It's all again furthering finding a balance. Fucking Pokedex, dude. Then we have to like look and see what like shit is. Dude, every time we do a Pokemon fight, like the Pokedex, you can find some wild shit. Like you go, especially if it's like one of the original 150. Like you can find some shit in the Pokedex that is just astronomically untrue.
Or it seems like it.
The weirdest bit was like finding the stuff about how there's like a Machamp fangirls that are like really into Machamps in the world, and it's like a little like they want to fuck the Machamps. It's really
oh yeah
Yeah.
they definitely do. There's a certain fan base for everything.
yeah, but usually not like a canonical fan base.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh, that threw me off. So that episode comes out in 2 weeks. And Josh wrote it and is editing it as well, and hopefully you guys like it. It's definitely a different. We've had a thing in the past where it's like every 25 episodes is a big milestone episode. It's like Goku versus Superman, Mario versus Sonic, and I think Voltron versus Megazord was 75, which is I think still one of, if not the most expensive and biggest fights we've ever made.
Don't get me started.
And longest took a long time to make it. And then Voltron won.
So much money on assets. Ugh.
And then Voltron won, and nobody shared it because of it. So it isn't doing nearly as well as it should. If you haven't seen that in a while, go check it out and share it around because it's such a cool fight. It's such a good script. I love that one, but everybody got mad because of Voltron winning and didn't share it with people, and I'm frustrated.
And if you haven't seen that episode, you now know the outcome.
Well, shit, yeah. Still go watch it. All right, so Josh, we'll definitely talk more about Goro versus Machamp.
Oh yes.
In upcoming episodes, but now I think it's time to talk about what is going on. But real quick, here's a word from our sponsor. You've heard of ExpressVPN, right? We all know by now that ExpressVPN protects your privacy and security online, and honestly, it's a fantastic VPN. I've had it myself for over a year. But here's something you might not know. You can also use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. Since a lot of us are stuck at home for now, wouldn't it be cool to check out the Netflix libraries from other countries? With ExpressVPN, you totally can, and it's easy to do. Just fire up the ExpressVPN app and change your location. ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want websites to think you are. And while there are hundreds of VPNs out there, ExpressVPN is the best choice because it's ridiculously fast. I mean, it's even in the name. So if you visit my special link right now at expressvpn.com/dbc, you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/dbc. It's worth checking out. Now, back to the show.
Then that's where there'll be.
I love that we
What
were
I'm
all
gonna say.
waiting. We were all waiting for like an intro to play.
Yep.
Well,
I assumed Chad was gonna sing it.
No, I'm gonna edit it in.
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
we can't
go
just do
ahead.
the 3, 2, 1. What's going on?
Nope. We're gonna edit it in.
I'm not prepared for
This
that.
Oh, sorry, what?
Pretty
I
sure
was
all
not
this
prepared
will be
for that.
cut. We'll see.
No.
What's
this is not cut at all.
on? Is that better?
Yeah, sure, bud.
What's going on? All right. What is going on? What are we talking about today?
Well, we were gonna talk about really the Goku thing. We talked about that.
I have no
Possibly
idea what you're
chat
talking about.
Goku's
Oh.
got like a new form kind of thing.
I looked into that. It's so for those wondering, I guess somebody was messaging you, Sam, that Goku's got a new form and was wondering if we were going to talk about it in the manga specifically. And I looked into it. It's not
Yeah.
a new form. It's the first version of Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct's weird, man. Like it's got
Yeah.
a bunch of different names, but they're all the same name. It's really weird. When Ultra Instinct first came out, the fan translation was Ultra Instinct Omen for the first version, where he's just got the black hair. But it's not 100% correct. But at the same time, it is. Japanese does not translate to English 1-to-1. But the general idea of that transformation's name was like first signs of Ultra Instinct, because it was like he was partly into it, but he wasn't all the way there. So the way it was written, it came out as Ultra Instinct Omen. But now it has been clarified as Ultra Instinct Sign, which is
Yeah.
dumb. It's nowhere near as cool as Ultra Instinct Omen.
I don't know. It's fine.
It's Sign?
They're
It's just
like the
sign.
same thing.
What? No. When I look at sign, I think of like stop sign or something like that. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, but I think if you think of it from like a bullshitty mythological way, signs and omens are pretty fucking similar.
But Omen is such a better word. Omen's a cooler word. Ultra Instinct Omen.
Yeah, well, yeah, but where do you go from there then?
Apparently autonomous Ultra Instinct. That's the next version. It's
Oh,
just
that's fucking
autonomous.
boring.
Oh, autonomous Ultra
Yeah.
Instinct. Sweet.
That's
think
the
the
white hair one.
We're gonna see this arc, I'm sure, as an anime here soon. But in like the mangas are always kind of fucking weird and stupid. But I'm more interested that right now the whole like plot is like Goku's already showed up, and now people are waiting for Vegeta to show up, which has never really happened.
Yeah, Vegeta went to Yardat, and he's learning the
He's getting
instant
crunked with
transmission.
aliens.
Yeah, he's learning instant transmission, and apparently spirit power or something like that.
He's mastering his spirit.
Yeah.
So
I
now
don't
he
know.
knows how to like clone himself and shit. And he can become giant. Other spirit shit.
Yes.
I don't know how mastering your spirit lets you be a giant, but whatever, man.
Which apparently Goku should be able to do as well, because he technically went through all of this
I think
off
the
screen.
thought process is that Goku's a little too fucking stupid.
But he can he does instant transmission.
Yeah, he learned like that one trick, but he never got the rest of it.
It would have been pretty funny if when he showed up on Earth, and Trunks is there, and he was like, "Hey guys, check out what I can do," and he just grew like 30 feet tall.
I mean, like that's Dragon Ball is very fun. I like it. Like I've been following the franchise for 20 years. The writing, they're very much just like, yeah, fuck it, we'll do that today. Like literally, they got nothing behind it. They're just like, sure. Like
'Cause it's
Toriyama
cool.
even said
No,
they
have their
forgot to
moments.
give Baby Trunks a tail because they forgot Saiyans had tails. Like they just don't
Okay.
give a fuck.
Well, it's a balance. You said that like they just do whatever they want. They don't give a shit. I mean, there are times that they do that, but there's still like there's still things that they do that obviously they do.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to shit talk it. Like I said, I like it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
There's
just
just
trying
things
to
that
throw,
they
I'm,
do
throw, I'm
that
trying to throw you a
obviously
life
they
raft right
do.
now, dude.
no, I don't need a life raft. Like I'm about that. Like I just talked about. Sometimes we look at scripts and we're like, yeah, that's really fucking cool, and we just do it because it's fucking cool.
Well, I mean, like Sam's not wrong, and Toriyama himself has talked about how he doesn't, or at least back in the Dragon Ball Z days, he didn't plan past the Frieza arc. He barely planned the Frieza arc. And when he was doing the Cell arc, the Android arc, he didn't have Cell planned. Literally in the middle of the arc, his producers went to him and was like, "Hey, these androids aren't, or these cyborgs are not threatening. You need to make a better villain." He was just like, "Okay." And halfway through the arc, he just introduces a new villain. That's one of the charming things about Dragon Ball is the fact that Toriyama is actually really good at that, like off the cuff storytelling. He's able to
Yeah.
just go, and it kind of works.
Definitely, he can freestyle some shit. Yeah.
Granted,
Thank you,
the
sir.
manga is not written by him.
No.
It's still his. The way I understand it is he presents like an outline or concepts or something and
And
hands
like
it
the
off to the author.
characters.
Yeah, so it's still his concept, but it's not his story. And the same thing, I guess, happened to the anime. Like he was handing off the same concepts to Toei and to, God, I'm blanking on the name of the guy who's the mangaka for the manga. Starts with a T. And they would just go separately, which is why the manga and the anime both follow the same story, but they do it very differently. Which is now going to be a problem for whenever we bring Goku back, because it's like there are two canons now, and they're both the same but incredibly different. And one of them is still going, one of them ended.
We kind of dealt with that with Roshi because by that time Roshi in the manga like did a Ultra Instinct sign thing, which didn't make any fucking sense. So
Well, that's going back to Ultra Instinct having a bunch of different names. There's two autonomous Ultra Instincts. There's one that Roshi, Weiss, and Beerus use, and then there's, which is just the technique, and then Ultra Instinct, the form, gives Goku Ultra Instinct, the technique.
yeah, that's the kind of writing I'm talking about right there. Like
Yeah,
one day
I
they were
mean-
like, "Hey, how does this work?" And he was like, well, they have the move, and he's got the form which gives him the move."
I mean, Vegeta's new form is like Super Saiyan Blue Evolved SS or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a mouthful.
I don't know why. It just
Well,
is.
and you know this piece of shit's gonna go Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, and you're just gonna be like, "Fuck off." That's too like you need 3 adjective limit. Like after that, get out of here.
I mean, they at least truncated Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan Blue. So,
Yeah.
progress.
Sure.
Yeah, but that was only after people were like, "That's ridiculous," and he was like,
well, and they
"Okay."
still go Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan too. They
What-
still
what?
use
Is that
that one. It's not like they threw it out. It's just they.
Oh no, they just
usually
renamed
skip
it. Oh, it's the original Super Saiyan God. Yeah, that
Yeah.
came back for some reason. I think somebody was like, there's just so much blue hair going on. The red stuff was really cool. Everybody really liked that. We got to bring it back and give blue like a weakness. And so suddenly blue could only be used for a short amount of time and wore them out until they perfected it. Of course, now they're
Yeah,
Good to
which
go,
has
of
literally
course.
happened with every Super Saiyan form.
Yep, except for 3.
Yeah,
They
that's
never
what
Yeah,
did
they
figure
don't
out
do
3.
with 3.
They never really fuck with that.
Yeah, because
3
they
they were
never
like,
figured out.
"Listen, it had its time. His hair was crazy and long. He went through that phase, and then also his nose was weird for some reason."
Yeah. Well, it
His
makes
nose.
you like a
you go to the
barbarian.
nose and not the eyebrows.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
the
all
eyebrows were
weird.
too, but for me, it was always the nose that stood out. I don't know why.
Really? Of all
Yeah.
things on Super Saiyan 3, the nose.
Yeah, it's very,
gives
very
you-
pointy.
It's like Cro-Magnus kind of. I don't know why.
Yeah, that brow strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got like scales going on or something. Or bone structure.
It's still wild that Vegeta's never done it either. Like I feel like that's like a trump card they got in there. Like he'll do it one day.
He doesn't need to,
Vegeta
though.
would
He
look
skipped
so-
that.
Yeah, he looks so weird.
I mean, I'm sure they've got Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 in the video games and probably in Dragon Ball Heroes. That's a thing.
Oh yeah.
And that's the response
You
to
made
that.
Sam think.
Anyway, we can move on from Dragon Ball and get to
Chad had a story.
I
Do
mean,
you wanna
dude,
sit to that?
holy
story?
shit. Well, I tried to. All right, so first of all, with obviously the whole Corona thing, like in us being quarantined, like we've been just stuck in the house, and let me tell you, you wanna do quarantine on hard mode, have 2 children, one of which is will be 3 in June. April and I are both trying to still work while watching our kids. They are bouncing off the walls. They're going stir crazy. We keep trying to find things for them to do, but then they also want our attention. And so, like, finding this balance has been just absolutely insane. Uh, Especially because our son is at that phase where he can get out of his bed. He is, if he's not supervised, he's finding everything that's dangerous in the house, or sneaking into like the fridge or the pantry and eating something. It has been wild. And so because both of my children are in growth spurts and are just like bottomless pits for food, I was like, oh God, like I thought we were stocked up and okay, but no, I gotta go to the store. So this morning I attempted to try and go and just get some supplies.
and they were about to announce the
Right.
why am I
And so
blanking on the name?
Shelter in place.
Shelter
The
in
shelter
place.
in place.
So
So
I was gonna say like shut up and stay in place or whatever.
Yeah, shut up.
Like, no,
Pretty
that's not
much.
right.
shut up, stay
home.
put.
Close.
Stay the
Uh,
fuck home, everybody. Official mandate.
So, like, all right, I'm like, all right, cool. I wake up at 7. I was like, I'm gonna get up there because toilet paper is one of the things that we need. And everyone is just like lost their goddamn minds and for some reason thinks toilet paper is gonna save them from whatever this thing is.
It's the currency of the
So-
future.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I know HEB opens at 8, so I'm gonna head out there. I go over to HEB, which if you guys don't know what HEB is, it's a chain that's in the South primarily, probably also some other places, and it's just like it's a big ass like super grocery store. I get there, and I arrive at the door that apparently they're not letting people through. So like I think we're fine, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. There's like nobody lined up, and they're like, no, you can't go in this entrance. You have to go to the other one. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to the other entrance and I look and I see the line went all the way down the shopping center, past like the strip malls of all the other stuff, and just like kept fucking going. There were probably 500 people in line.
Where is
It's
this?
too many people.
Is it an HEB or something?
It's an HEB.
Yeah, you can't fuck with this.
So I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen. So I get in my car and I find there's an Aldi nearby, which I'd only been to once before, and that was also because of this stuff. This is the last time I stocked up.
Yeah, all these are dank.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of Aldi.
So apparently they're all over the world. Like they're in Germany pretty prominently, and like a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, Josh, they're in Germany. Don't you
Oh,
know?
of course.
I mean,
Anyway, they're also
I
here,
missed
whatever.
this shit.
So I show up. It's now like 8:10 when I get there, and this Aldi opens at 9. So I'm like, all right, I get in line. I'm like the 20th person in line. I'm like, this is way better than that fucking HEB nightmare. And so like I'm waiting, and first of all, there's this dude behind me who's like, he's just talking about this whole thing, and he's talking about how the people he saw at Costco were like wrapped around the building 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it's great, it's a crazy time. And then he just like weirdly drops a comment about how like, but I saw some women wearing some short skirts, and like I don't know why they have to wait in line. And I was like, all right, dude, we're done. Oh, that was fucking weird.
Like, do we want to
Oh.
dive in and think about what this guy's like mindset is for that?
was a
I,
That was
think
a
it was
plot
just
twist.
that attractive women shouldn't have to wait in lines for things.
Do you think that's all it was? That seems too simple.
No, I think that's all it was.
Wow.
That's the opposite of what normally happens in that situation. Normally it would be, that lady got to go ahead because some dude thought she was super sexy or whatever, and then he starts complaining. But
Yeah,
no, you found somebody who specifically wanted that to happen.
like it's an
I don't know.
HEV, not the club. You fucking asshole.
Right. So I'm like, all right,
Well, it's
cool.
an Aldi's. It's an Aldi's. They might be different.
Oh shit! Yeah, right. Well, they are
Right.
Those
German.
German grocery stores, yeah.
Oh god. So like, I'm just like, all right, this is weird, and like a bunch of people are just standing in line and like just swapping stories about all the shit they've seen as they've been out trying to find supplies. And like, there was this one very sweet older woman who just came by and said good morning to every single fucking person in line. I was like, she just was like,
Did she shake
big
their
old
hands?
smile on her face. No, she kept her distance. She was.
How
doing
was the distancing?
good. It was
Y'all
good.
6
It was
feet?
it was really good in line, and this is what I'm getting to. So, everyone's in line. Everyone's like seems to be taking this seriously, and like doing the 6 feet and like having the precautions and all that stuff. And then, one of the things we were talking about in line was just like, hey, I really hope that like they have like a limit to the people that they let into this store because it's pretty small, to be real. And we're like, yeah, surely they will. So it hits 9 o'clock, and the store opens, and they just open the doors, and they're just like, go for it. And I was just like, what?
Oh shit! That's wild.
Dude,
Wow,
it
it's like
was
a king, like a Godzilla.
fucking
Let them fight.
crazy. Like I said, I was like probably like the 25th person in line. I go in there and I immediately like I had my priority list, which was like see if they have toilet paper. They don't, because apparently their toilet paper shipment didn't come through. But then I'm like, we're out of butter. I was like, I went and I got some butter, and I was just like, I'm like hitting the essentials. Like I need some milk, I need some eggs, and so I'm getting this stuff, and then just more and more people are coming into the store because the line had built up and it started to wrap around the building. And this story is so small, like I can't stress that enough. And so I'm like trying to do my best, but like people are like flooding into this bitch, and I'm like backing off, and like so for example, one of the things that just drove me nuts is like we get to there's like the meat corner, right, of the store. The very back corner of the store is where they have the meats for like ground beef and like pork chops and whatever. And I'm like, all right, so this guy's already looking at some meat on the left side. This lady's looking at some meat on the right side. Like, I'm gonna give it some distance because that's our social responsibility at this time to not spread this thing. And then like people are like pushing past me, and like I literally watched one guy reach over another dude who was like grabbing some meat, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? And it was like there was plenty of stock of that stuff. And it's just like they were trying to just get in and get out, I guess. But like it was the most like irresponsible thing, and it was crazy. Like people are like bumping up against each other, and I'm just like this whole time I'm like, this is my nightmare. Like I'm trying to do like the right thing and like give people space, but what the fuck is happening? It was crazy. So I finally got a handful of the stuff that I need, some important items, and then I was just like, I need to get out of here. And then the checkout lines were all the way down the aisles. And I just, dude, it was such a crazy experience.
Did you get
And
it all, or did you just leave?
I got what I could, and then I was like, I need to get out of here. And so then I literally got home. I was just like, I brought in all the groceries, and then I took off my clothes, threw them into the washing machine, and then went and took a shower.
Probably smart.
Yeah. Dude, it's wild right
Oh
now.
my
Like
gosh.
pandemic shit is crazy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you want to
you
go
think-
out, like that's the kind of shit. Like I tweeted at Aldi. I was like, hey, like I very much encourage you guys to like please like
Stop this.
implement some social distancing stuff for your stores. Like I would have been happy to wait like another 30 minutes if they were sending people in like 15 at a time. But they just let everyone go in, and it was
For a small store,
wild.
especially, that makes
Right.
a lot of sense. Like they should traffic that a little bit. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I mean, sounds like glad you took the precautions. Like, sounds like you did.
Oh yeah, dude, I was keeping
really
my
good job.
distance as much as possible, and I was like, I was not. I mean, I technically had a meeting in the morning, but I was like not going to prioritize that over like me not
Yeah,
getting
makes sense.
infected. And like I had hand sanitizer and stuff, and yes, I washed my hands for the people who were like hand sanitizer isn't effective enough, but it still helps. So like, yeah, I did everything I could, but I swear to God, like if I get the fucking coronavirus, it was from Aldi. Like I'm just telling you right
It's
now.
Aldi's fault. Those damn Germans.
Oh God, I don't know if it started in Germany. I just know that they're like, because I had a very nice conversation with the lady behind me while we were waiting in line, and we were keeping our social distancing, and we were both bitching about how everyone else was like fucking trash monsters. Yeah, and then she was talking about she lived in Germany for a while, and they had a bunch of Aldis, and so this was
Yeah.
bringing her back.
Pretty sure it
Gotcha.
started there.
Do you think people who don't live next to an HEB look at the sign and call it Heb?
It's a lot better than another word you could call it, which we want to
Yeah.
avoid.
Anyway, it's time for the community
I
death
always
battle.
call it that without thinking. Anyways, let's go on.
Community death battle.
Insert asset. Yay.
Boom, 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 boom. All right, time for the community death
Nailed it.
battle. Whatever the hell it was. Oh, Frieza versus Megatron. This is
Oh,
one we
yeah.
got from chat.
Galvatron at the end of the day, but yeah.
Frieza, Megatron, Galvatron. One and the same.
They're purple.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Also
where that comes
mean.
from.
Also what?
Also
mean.
mean.
Yes.
They're rude.
Okay, of
They're
course.
real fucking
Very
rude
rude.
dudes.
Of course.
Oh, I heard
cold.
meme.
Yeah,
they
me
do
too.
meme, both of them. More Frieza than anyone else, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, as always, Sam, you've got the answers from Twitter, right?
He's got all the answers.
Well, I'm
If not,
I don't
he's
have
cut it
any
in now.
at my place where I am right now, so I want to make sure somebody has them, and Sam usually has those. So as I lead into this part where I say, as always, we leave it up to you guys to let us know who you think should win and why using hashtag DeathBattleCast on Twitter. We have an answer for one of them. Sam, take it away.
This is where Sam's real quiet, and he realized he forgot to get those.
I forgot where I put the file. Don't
Oh
worry.
my
Oh, so
God.
you have it.
Great.
Okay.
Because we can't see it
Or
right
is it
now.
okay?
So
the good news is you
yeah.
can cut out this dead air.
can
So,
we? I don't know. I
Ira
don't think
J,
we should.
right? Ira J says Frieza would make him
Says.
have his child, raise it, sign custody over when it's old enough to fight, and then 10 years later, when he's on his deathbed, Frieza would pop back into his life just to take insurance out on him. The point is, he would win.
That's so elaborate.
Yeah, I know.
There was no reasoning behind it, though.
What?
Chad, they've thrown reasoning out. They don't. Have you looked through the comments recently? They've stopped that.
what?
Reasoning is over. It's been canceled.
Reason
here's
is
a good
done.
Story time with Nathan says Galvatron is a focal point of the power and madness given form. He is blind to all, but is lust for power. His whims and desires can be sacrificed in a moment's rage. Not even his own subordinates are safe.
What? Are
Wow.
you reading their backstories?
What great selection, Sam.
Hey man, let's
really
mulligan.
long.
Let's mulligan. You
What
go
else
find
are you
some.
doing? You've been work from home for like weeks.
Well, see, Chad, this kind of bamboozled me because these assets are on my calendar for later today to do because the poll doesn't even fucking finish yet.
So the
We're not supposed to
not
record
done
this
yet?
so
until
the I
tomorrow.
forgot where I put them was
Wow.
I went to Twitter
Wow.
real quick and read the first two I saw.
No, I had two in Photoshop.
Wait, the poll isn't even done yet?
Please
no,
don't cut
we didn't
any of
know
this
we
out.
were fucking
Yeah,
recording
please don't
doing
leave
this
it. This
now.
is
Leave
what
all
it's
this
like.
in.
Listen, everybody in their jobs is going through some times right now. All right. So
The poll.
here's what's gonna happen. I might be playing World of Warcraft while we're recording this, so I'm gonna do a roll out of 100. If it's under 50, Frieza wins. If it's
No,
over
I have
50,
the current poll stats.
Galvatron.
Though.
Fuck that.
That's how it
It
works.
could change at any moment.
Oh wait, no. We have final results. Don't worry about it.
All right, never
what?
mind. And I'm
Wait,
definitely not
wait.
playing WoW
So-
right now.
Hey, I just looked at it. Here's the thing. Frieza fucking shits on him because this isn't a fight. It's 76.5 to 23.5.
You didn't even let us vote.
Whoa, you didn't
Your
let
vote
us vote.
sucks.
Fuck you. I don't
Wow.
care. This is a new world.
Well, there you have it. After extensive debate, Frieza wins.
Remember,
Well, it's not extensive debate. It's just who they said would win. That's how. Do you know how community death battle works?
remember last week when we were live on our wonderful set, and I said, "Hey, we should do this episode because it's requested a lot. I'm very curious to see the answers from people who think that this could be a really cool matchup." Remember when I said that? Oh wait, you weren't there.
Hey, do you remember?
Yeah,
that?
I wasn't.
Yeah, none of them were there. It was just you and me, Ben.
Fuck.
You want to run this?
And then do you remember when Sam was like, you know what? Fuck your dreams, Ben. I grabbed the first 2 comments I saw.
Oh no! What do we do?
All right, it's done. Frieza wins. That's it.
Do you want some more? Here, Bear Shield's got a good one. He says, Okay, please read.
It doesn't matter now because you already revealed the poll.
Well, yeah, but we can still talk about it. It's a new world,
We'll
Chet.
do this in reverse order.
Oh god.
Hey, Frieza wins. All right, everybody, let's vote.
Unicron is as powerful as Golden Frieza due to the fact that he's in every timeline from Transformers to Marvel, and Megatron alone fought him off. Galvatron is by far stronger, faster, and all more tanky to speak.
See, there we go.
There you
That
go.
would have been great to lead off with.
Right?
Yeah, man. I wasn't done making these fucking assets yet.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you everybody who voted and submitted answers. My vote is for Frieza.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real hard decision for me,
Yeah,
Ben, but
yeah.
I think I'm going to have to go with Frieza.
Hmm.
Me too. Yeah. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely where I was. I was on the fence, but I'm gonna go Frieza.
Sam, who are you voting for?
Do you want a good answer for Frieza now?
Just give your
No,
give
it
your
doesn't
vote.
matter.
Just give your vote.
But there's a great one here.
Give your vote.
Galvatron.
Fuck no! You were supposed to say Frieza, and then
Why?
we look at the poll and we're like, "Oh my god, we got 100%! We're so smart, everybody."
No, I'm voting the other way.
Well,
Great.
all right.
Because then it matches the poll. It's 3-1. That's what the poll is.
Ah,
See, I'm fucking big
I like
brain
that.
200 IQ over
I like
here. Don't worry.
that's good.
All right, let's move on. Let's get a new community death battle going. And this one, maybe we'll do legitimately, right?
Sure.
Things will work out correctly this time.
Oh, well, yeah, now that we know we're doing this, yeah.
What do
and
you mean? We do it every week.
We do this every week, not today. We're supposed to be doing this tomorrow.
Okay,
made the
I don't know if we-
calendar invite for today, and you even pushed it later.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, well, no, Ben pushed it later. I just did
I
it for him.
requested it to be pushed later, and,
Yeah.
and then he did.
But I also recorded a show for you that we can't even talk about yet. That's what I was busy doing, so I don't know what you want from me.
You had a week.
No, the poll's been finished for like 34 minutes.
Yeah, but people were commenting for an entire week.
That's a wild world. What if somebody came in at the last moment dropping some gems?
Well, clearly then you would just replace the already good one that you sourced.
You want me to make assets just twice and just throw out all that labor? Is that how
All right.
companies work? Wasted labor everywhere?
God
All right.
damn it.
It sounds like this was if any matchup was gonna go through this treatment, I guess Frieza versus Megatron is probably one to do so based on the poll. Sounds like it's pretty clear cut. I will say, if there is anybody out there who has requested, Megatron versus Frieza before and believes that it is not quite that clear cut, please feel free to tweet at me and let me know why. It's totally fine. And
The
if,
person who suggested this, Phantom Falcon, said they were siding with Frieza, and they have a great answer. I'll put that in the edit. Don't worry.
This is gonna be
This is
Sam
great
reading
now.
by
Now,
himself.
now I have time to do it in post.
It's
Usually I
just
have like
sitting
5
there?
minutes to edit this.
has it been sitting there this whole time?
Me?
And we just haven't been reading it, and
I
everybody
told- no, I
watching is
told
like,
you-
why aren't they
no, no,
reading
no.
this comment that's on the screen right now?
No, I'll put it in right when I said I would put it in.
What does it say?
Oh, well, I asked you like 5 minutes ago if you wanted me to read you. and
Fine,
what
okay,
you
the
did.
next
it's too
community
late.
death
No,
battle.
Too late. Next community death battle. What is it?
So we got the three
Sam
from-
versus procrastination. How
There
about
we
that
go.
one?
No, it's
There
not
we go.
That's
procrastination.
pretty good.
Sam versus everybody else. We've got the 3 other ones that were requested last week from the chat, and I figure we can just pull from one of those. So how about we do Genos versus Bakugo. So we just had Genos in a death battle, and the My Hero movie just came out recently. Feels like a good time to do Genos versus Bakugo, Explodey Boys. How about that? You guys up for that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know a
Let's do
lot
it.
about Bakugo,
Explodey
but let's
Boys.
go.
So Exploded Boys fight. That's our next community death battle. As always, you can let us know who you think should win between Genos and Bakugo using hashtag DeathBattleCast on Twitter. We will hopefully have a poll up near the end of this week, and you can vote there. And then we will discuss next week, and then we will vote
reveal it.
Next week,
and then
the
reveal
poll will
the
end
poll.
earlier.
Yes.
Heads up.
Hashtag DeathBattleCast. That's all I need to do.
Okay, bye.
Yep, that's the end of the episode.
Thanks, everybody.
I already
Stay
cut
safe.
it.
Wash,
Thank
your,
you.
wash your
Yeah.
hands.
Thank you for putting up with whatever this was. We're
Yeah.
figuring it out. It'll be
And to
fine.
Parrot Chad, wash your motherfucking hands.
That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
Stay away from other
Don't go to
monsters.
Or Germany.
Don't. Or
Apparently.
don't go outside. That's possible too.
Sure. All right. Everybody stay safe. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. Or
Bye.
you will hear from us next week, I guess.